Hello, so the purpose of this screencast is to give you a support for Graduate Professional Development Assessment 1, which at the time of recording is due in a couple of weeks' time. So the good news is the next two practical sessions are going to be dedicated towards supporting you guys write up the best possible report. But with that in mind, you're really going to want to come along to these sessions with something to show me. If you don't have anything to show me, I can't give you any feedback and you're not going to make the best use of those sessions. So what I've done to help you guys out is I've created this sample write-up. Now I'm going to save this as a PDF and upload it to the assessment area of the SOL page. So don't worry, you'll be able to find it there. I'll also email you guys. But the purpose of this screencast is really to go through what I expect you guys to do and what a model report should look like. So the report firstly is written in an academic style. As you can see, I've got section headings and section numbers. I've linked to a Solent template. This isn't laid out exactly like I want your report laid out. That's because I've missed out sections, but this is really just to give you sample excerpts from various sections to aid in your writing. So the first thing you're going to think about is an introduction. The introduction is fairly straightforward. It's just going to introduce the work to come, introduce your key findings. So as you can see, I haven't given you guys any sample work there because, like I said, it's fairly self-explanatory. The next slightly harder section is a literature review that you guys will have to write up. Now, this is a little bit harder, so you guys are going to have to read a couple of papers. I don't expect anything massively in depth here. Really, it's just about summarizing what you believe Tuckman's 1965 model of developmental sequences in small groups is all about. You're going to describe that. You can see I've given an example of how that can be done here. So you're going to write something along the lines of what the model is. And also, you're going to critique the model. So you're not just going to accept it as a good model that works well. I'm sure it works well in certain areas, but you're also going to critique it. And I won't read this to you guys because you can read it. But down here, you can see I've critiqued Tuckman's model. I've pulled in some competing models, such as this guy here, Jerzyk, 1988. Actually critiqued Tuckman's model, said it was too general, said that groups don't all develop in that way. So it's quite an interesting read and an interesting contrast, which is why I've mentioned it here. So with regards to this section, I don't expect a hugely in-depth literature review. Anywhere between 3 and 5 good quality sources is absolutely fine here. Also, if you've used any other theories, such as the Myers-Briggs type indicator, or any other personality test, you should explain them and explain the science and background behind it here. So with regards to these citations, you can come down here to the end of the section and you can see that I've got a reference section. So you can search for any of these titles on Google Scholar and pull up the papers and read them. And obviously you're more than welcome to use any of these papers in your own write-up. But bear in mind, every section here is written up in the style that I want you to write it. So hopefully it gives you a little bit more guidance and takes some of the guesswork out of the process. I appreciate some of you might have not written an essay like this before. Okay, so moving on to your methods section. So again, this might be quite new. Methods is a section in a scientific paper where we write up in a very precise and descriptive way the tools we use to collect data. Now, sometimes this may feel a little bit overly verbose, but remember, you're trying to write in a way that I can pick up your study and I can replicate it. That's one of the foundations of science. So we tend to write in a slightly overly descriptive way. So we go into great detail of the steps that we took to actually collect data. So for instance, if you collected survey data, it's not enough to tell me you just collected survey data. You need to tell me exactly how. So for instance, you might say I used a OneDrive form to collect that data and I gathered the results together and I shared it with my team in a online Google Docs, that sort of thing. The point is here, it's overly descriptive, but hey, it makes up word count, so it's not all bad. Last thing, not the last thing, second to last thing, so the penultimate thing is the results. So the results, you're just laying out in an objective way what the results were from your data collection, methods that you used. And I've just given some examples down here of some results that you may have collected and typically how you would present those. At this stage, try and steer clear from voicing opinion and reflection. You're presenting results in an objective way, and then we analyze the results in the discussion section, which comes next. So in the discussion section that I present here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be analyzing our results against wider studies, and we're going to be reflecting on the team process as a whole and using those results that we presented in the previous section to aid our reflection. And if you just read this sample section, you'll know exactly what I mean, because this is the type of thing that I'm looking for. And remember, to aid our reflection, we're using Bruce Tuckman's model. Whether you agree with it or not isn't particularly relevant at this point, because we're just using it as a reflective tool. So if our team didn't conform to this linear sequence that he lays down, that's fine. We just need to mention that in our discussion, that our team didn't even abide to that model. And I think in the discussion here, I have indeed mentioned that. Okay, so hopefully that clears things up a little bit. Remember also on the Soul page, you can click on the referencing and reporting tab, and that's going to have a whole host of videos which are going to further support you in the write-up. Also, please do try and at least jot down some ideas and structure out your report before you come to the practical sessions in the coming weeks, because then I can give you lots of help and we can work on getting the essay or the report perfect and get you guys a great grade. So good luck, everybody, and I'll see you on in the next few weeks.